Well, a lot of people are calling it modern slavery. Does that feel right?
I was just about to say, that's slavery. That's slavery. You took away the whips, but you put the paperwork. Took away the masters and you put them in uniform. Same difference, same difference.
It kind of appears that there is a coordinated system in order to protect the labor that's created by the prison system.
Walk into a McDonald's in Alabama, and the worker flipping your McDouble could be an incarcerated person.
It's a sad situation, a way they getting rich off us.
The Alabama Department of Corrections farms out incarcerated people to work at hundreds of private companies and government agencies across the state.
McDonald's, Burger King, Golden Corral, Wendy's. They got a Wendy's contract right now. State Trooper's office.
They'll send everybody everywhere.
They'll send you everywhere. Yes, the parole office.
And even though ADOC trusts these incarcerated people to leave prison every day and work alongside the general public, many of them are still denied the chance at real freedom.
I work for y'all, but when I come up for parole, you deny me. Why would you deny me? Because you're getting free service.
This is a story about corporations and the state of Alabama exploiting prison labor and the coercive policies they use to keep its citizens trapped in servitude.
It doesn't work. It's a terrible system.
If you're wondering how any of this is even legal, well, it might not be. That's what we went to Alabama to figure out.
So yeah, could you just describe like how long you worked here? And
I was here 18 months. I ran their kitchen by myself from 8 to 5 every Tuesday through Thursday.
Wow, yeah. That sounds like hard work.
It was.
Elizabeth Thomas was in the Alabama Work Release Program for 5 of her 15 years in prison.
So they had a combination of incarcerated people and free world people?
Yes. Yes.
Did you feel like there was a difference how they treated?
Oh, most definitely. We work longer hours.
Make the work release work over, or work extra days, don't want to give you off days. Like, no, I gotta eat my health. I have to get rest. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a machine. But that's how they look at you, like.
This is Quincy Sanders. During his nearly 17 years in prison, he worked at several restaurants, a lumber yard, and McDonald's.
Like, working a real job and trying to be incarcerated is a very hard experience. You have to be mind strong, really.
Alabama has one of the most overcrowded and deadly prison systems in the United States. Even the Justice Department found conditions there to be unconstitutional. In 2023, almost a person a day died in Alabama prisons, which is almost 5 times the national average.
They might get beat to death. People beating folks with sticks. They breaking broomsticks, making little billy clubs. People in there stabbing each other. People in there doing drugs. People in there almost about to die. They're not giving you no nursing assistance. The nurse probably get there, you probably be dead.
But ADOC offers people in prison with nonviolent misdemeanor convictions a potentially life-saving deal. If they join the work release program, they get to live in special facilities that are generally much less dangerous than regular prisons. They spend their days working in the free world without prison supervision, and they can earn 72-hour passes to visit their families at home.
If you go out here and you do the right thing, you get to elevate, you get to grow, you get out of this facility. But what you didn't tell me is that you finna get all my money. That's what they didn't tell you.
The state takes a 40% cut of every incarcerated worker's wages off the top, before taxes, plus an additional $5 a day for van rides to and from work, $15 a month for laundry, and then any restitution and court fees.
If your check is $636, you might see two something out of that. And that's every 2 weeks. And you done work 80 hours and only seen $200. Like, it makes you lose motivation. Cause money motivates people, especially working. So it kind of makes you lose motivation.
One estimate calculated that the state of Alabama enjoys a benefit of more than $450 million a year off of prison labor.
And it's slavery all the way around the board, just slavery.
And unlike free world workers, incarcerated workers can't just get a shift covered or quit.
ADOC has a list of rules that all incarcerated people are expected to abide by. Rules like don't have contraband, be in your bunk at the required time, and rules like don't refuse to work. That's a rule on the books.
CJ Sandley is one of the attorneys behind a recent lawsuit filed against ADOC.
The range of punishments folks can face if they get written up for refusing to work include solitary confinement, losing access to phones, tablets, visitation, access to their families and loved ones for like 30 days, 60 days. Being required to do more work inside the prison walls for free, under threat of punishment.
I want to talk to my family. I want to be a part of my family, and you're telling me that if I don't go and do what you want me to do at these jobs, work as hard as they want me to do, if they need me 7 days, you want me to go there 7 days. If they need me 80 hours, you want me to work 80 hours. If they want me to turn around and come back and do a double, you want me to get up and you want me to be available to do all this. But if I decide I'm tired, Lord forbid if we got sick.
I talked to Reginald Burrell, who was injured when an entertainment center fell on his head at the private furniture manufacturing company where he worked through ADOC. When he spoke up about it, he was fired.
And I confronted the JPO about it, and they shipped me to Childersburg with extra duty, taking away my privileges, and I ended up in a landfill. I just got assaulted and mistreated at this job, and now I'm ended in a landfill working for free for a multi-million-dollar company.
One of the most valuable things in the system is whatever I can do to get out early. If a work stoppage to protect myself from being abused and to speak up for myself could subject me to sanctions, I don't have to say it, but you're going to follow whatever order you're given.
Chris England is a state representative in Alabama. He's leading the fight to reform the state's prison system.
It is a completely broken system. The folks in charge, the parole board, they don't use guidelines. There is no methodology applied to it.
Alabama has some of the lowest parole grant rates in the country.
And more than 90% of the time, hearing this answer.
Denied, 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 be denied. Parole will be denied.
If the parole board followed its own guidelines, it would grant parole in about 80% of cases. But instead, that number dropped to just 8% last year. And incarcerated people in the work release program don't fare much better.
I know that there are people at the Department of Corrections, they assess them, and then they say, you are not a threat. So much so, that you can leave here and go work. Some people actually go home for 72 hours on a weekend and are told, we trust you to the point where you do whatever you gotta do. We'll see you Monday morning, 8 o'clock. That same person goes before the parole board and they say, what you did 20 years ago is so bad we can't let you out. You're a threat to public safety, but make sure you're at work tomorrow morning.
A federal lawsuit claims that 235 people in the work release program were denied parole in fiscal year 2022.
So if the system is operating as designed, what is the point of the system?
It appears labor is.
One thing our lawsuit talks a lot about is that very clear lineage from slavery in the state to convict leasing and to what we've got now. And the punishment by the Department of Corrections is what our clients are challenging, because that's what amounts to involuntary servitude and slavery by the state.
After the Civil War, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery with a key caveat. Forced labor was still allowed for people convicted of a crime. And the states adopted a copycat of this federal amendment. But here's the thing. In 2022, Alabamians made a historic vote to remove this exception.
The state has a new constitution. Voters overwhelmingly agreed to make our state constitution free of racist laws and language.
However, right after the voters of the state changed the state constitution, the governor and the Department of Corrections really doubled down on the punishment for refusing to work.
So the people closed the loophole and then the governor went around to open it up again, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Governor Kay Ivey's executive order made encouraging or causing a work stoppage a high-level violation on the same level as possession of a weapon, drug possession, and bribery. The order also cracked down on correctional incentive time, better known as
good time.
In some prison systems, good behavior is rewarded with what's known as good time. People can earn sentence reductions and get released from prison early.
And the state legislature even changed its good time law to increase that form of punishment for folks who refuse to work.
We're simply changing the amount of correctional incentive time or good time days that are offered.
Are we increasing or are we lowering it?
We are lowering them.
All of this was done on the heels of this constitutional change, and frankly, it's a brazen ignoring of the will of the voters of the state, and that's what our lawsuit is about. And so many people want to work, but they want to be paid fairly. They want to be paid a free world wage for the labor they're doing. They want to be working in safe conditions. They want to be treated fairly, and they don't want to be forced to work if they don't want to, or they can't because they're sick, or they have a doctor's appointment, or they're feeling unsafe in their work and they want to change jobs.
One of the unique things about this state, and really the country, is that things just never end, they evolve. If your prison system is full, it's primarily full of black folks, black men, and you have a racial disparity in who gets released and who doesn't. Can you imagine the optics of what that labor force looks like?
Black people account for just over a quarter of Alabama's total population, but more than 50% of the prison population. An AL.com investigation found that black men were 25% less likely to get parole than white men.
If you could take a picture of a group of men who are working convict labor decades ago and juxtapose that next to a current labor force, it would probably look the same. That's crazy.
So, what is the point of prison? Is it the creation of a cheap, controllable, and confined labor source? Or is it rehabilitation? And what does a real commitment to rehabilitation for incarcerated people actually look like?
I wish they'd strip that name off of that Alabama Department of Correction. I wish they'll take correction out of that and just say Alabama Department, because ain't no correction. Ain't no correction, ain't no structure, ain't no discipline. You discipline me to do what you want me to do, not the law. Not to come back in society and be able to live off of what you taught me. That's not what's going on. If I lived off what DOC taught me, I'd still be a criminal. Because they want that paycheck. They want me to come back in tomorrow. They want me to, because they money keep flowing. It's no correction. We need to start correcting. We need to start loving. We need to start teaching.